Aged very young, I first set eyes on a Scimitar, and I had to have one. So with my 3rd student loan, I think it was, I bought this car. I sprayed it black very early on. It went from green to black. You can see I've got the old Essex Engineer. I made the pancake type filter on there by cutting down the old one. I put a electric facet fuel pump in there because at high revs the other one bounced on the cam and stopped supplying fuel. I put some exhaust headers on it. Here you can see I fit a Ford Escort Mark 5 radiator, big aluminium radiator to keep the cooling in control. I go through 3 gearboxes in a year. They're all second-hand ones, but eventually I just went nuts and bought a Borg Warner T5 gearbox. I made an adapter plate to fit it to the old bell housing. So there's the adapter plate that got the T5 in, which actually was also knackered, but it survived the rest of the time, making a nice whining sound. I put a bigger set of brakes on the front. These are Rover 827 discs with Mondeo calipers, old Mondeo calipers, but they proved to be very good. You can see here the brake plate I made. I had got my lathe at this point, so I made up these two plates to remove the old brake caliper mounts and fit these ones on. And the other improvement was the discs went on the front of the hub instead of the back, so that hot disc could put a lot of its heat into the alloy wheel rather than just the bearing in the old arrangement. Oh, I also did a rear brake conversion, disc conversion on the back, which was with Volkswagen Audi Group calipers. I think Rover 827 rear discs as well. I made some new back plates basically just to replace the drum back plates. I made these much thicker ones, which the calipers could bolt to. You can see I fitted a bicycle speedometer, very accurate. Goes up to 199 miles an hour. I Araldite glued a magnet to the back of the rear drive flange, if you see what I mean, behind the disc, and then fitted the speedo, or initially it was up where the stereo used to be. You see I put the battery in the back. I got a Ford Capri seat on the passenger side and a sort of a bucket seat on the right hand side. An MR2 boot release, and got rid of the boot latch and the wiper from the back window while I did the respray, that was. You can see the sandwich plate here as well for an oil cooler, and I forget, 13 row, something like that, oil cooler. So I think that was a thermostatic sandwich plate as well, so that was a nice way of doing it. That was it. So I tried to make it tough and reliable and a little bit quicker. I had the car like that for a few years, and it was good, it was fun, but it definitely was not quick enough. It made a fantastic sound, a V6 pulling through that filter like that. Really, you could hear the induction sound beautifully. But it just didn't go like it sounded, so something had to be done. And the other thing was I think maybe I put some Avo dampers on it at some point as well, and the brakes. So the dampers and the brakes, more often than not, by giving some adjustability, it gives you plenty of ways, really infinite ways to mess it up. So the handling was, well, it was all wrong on the original Scimitar anyway. The spring rates were way out, and of course the ones I fitted stiffened it up, which gives every boy racer that immediate feeling that you've improved something. But of course the balance front to rear is the important thing, and also lowering it, roll centers get ruined as well. So in reality I messed up the handling, which I did later correct, and I actually messed up the brake balance too. So it had solid discs on the front and drums on the rear, and I went to vented on the front and discs on the rear, but the ratio was all wrong. It was very much front bias, and later in another video you'll see I do a lot of calculations to figure out what the bias should be. So all that is to be fixed later on. This was the first iteration, if you like, of the Scimitar, and how I ran it for some years, and enjoy it. But yeah, light modifications, if you like. Some pretty serious stuff to come. Thanks for watching this one.